Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of international business, specifically in relation to Japan. And if you're considering expanding your business or establishing new partnerships in Japan, then this video is a must watch. Now, we'll be discussing the key strategies for success when doing business in Japan, so let's dive in. Now, before we actually dive into the different strategies when doing business with Japan, let's quickly touch upon the importance of understanding Japanese business culture. Japan is known for its unique customs, traditions, and etiquette, which greatly influence the way business is conducted. And building strong relationships and showing respect for Japanese customs are crucial for success. Now, I opened a couple of tabs based on the 6 strategies that I'm going to talk about. And the very first strategy is building relationships. Like everywhere in the world, building relationships is very important. But in Japan, business relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and long-term commitment. So with an emphasis on long-term commitment. It's actually essential to invest time in establishing personal connections through face-to-face meetings. Nowadays, it has become a bit easier to have online meetings. It's a bit more accepted to have online meetings, but still a face-to-face meeting is absolutely necessary to build trust in Japan. Then socializing is a big aspect of building trust. The so-called nomikai, or the dinner after the business meeting, is part of Japanese culture as much as sushi. And then in addition to that, I also always say that networking events are something that are kind of undervalued but are also important. And in Japan, networking events are kind of different to how networking events are happening in the Western world. Usually you need someone to introduce you to a new person. So believe it or not, you need someone to introduce you to a new person if you really want to establish a long-lasting connection. So don't just approach someone that you don't know. You might be lucky, and you could get somebody that is open to that, but usually Japanese are, even on networking events, pretty shy, and they only are communicating. They usually stand in their own circle, and if somebody knows somebody else, then they get introduced, and that's how the conversation starts. But still very valuable to building relationships. Now, building a solid network of contacts will open doors to opportunities and help you navigate the business landscape effectively. I just picked this website because I found it really interesting in understanding hierarchies and expectations in Japan and when building relationships. So check it out. I'll put it in the description below. Next up, we have strategy number 2, which is cultural sensitivity. So understanding and respecting Japanese customs and traditions is very important when doing business with Japan. This includes mastering basic Japanese greetings, showing humility, being mindful of hierarchy in business interactions. Basically, Japanese value and harmony and group consensus is so important because in Japan you usually try to avoid confrontation and always try to strive for a collaborative approach. So you will very seldomly see any kind of public disagreement. I again put a link to this blog about cultural sensitivity in Japan. Very interesting to go through and to see for yourself what cultural sensitivity means in Japan. But again, it's paramount for interactions in Japan and with Japanese business to have that sensitivity, or to have an idea what cultural sensitivity in Japan actually means. Third strategy is the art of long-term vision and also patience. So here it's, in this blog post, it's the art of perseverance, but it's basically part of Japanese business culture to emphasize long-term relationships. And you don't really look in that much into quick wins. That's not something that Japan is known for. Japanese take a long-term approach when having social interactions, but also business interactions. So it may take a while to build trust and secure deals when you're doing business with Japan, but patience is always the key, because some business partners in Japan might test you on your patience level and to find out if you're a patient business partner, because they're not looking into doing business with business partners that are just looking for the quick win. So demonstrating commitment and a long-term partnership rather than a short-term gain will resonate well with Japanese business partners. So here in this article, there is the talk about gaman, which is something like perseverance or resilience, maybe something like that, which is taught very early on to Japanese kids on just persevere a situation of crisis or a moment that is kind of painful, and not just say, no, I had enough, or to just give up immediately. So that might be in sports, that might be in an inconvenient situation where there's I don't know, maybe you're in the train and there's a very loud passenger. Usually people in the train or public transport in Japan are very quiet and very mindful of their surroundings. But if there is something like that, to use the term gaman and to persevere and resist, to show that you had enough, to show your emotions in that regard, that you cannot, you don't have the resilience to persevere that situation. So the next strategy is emphasizing quality and reliability. And I pulled up here the history of quality, and what I found very interesting is that the history of total quality in America actually started in Japan. So consider this when you sell in Japan, that Japan was the inventor of the total quality or management system, or just total quality in general, when you try to sell in Japan. Quality and dedication to reliability is eminent when doing business with Japan. Japanese will always look and compare your quality to Japanese quality, because even Japanese think in many aspects, in many parts of products and services, that Japanese quality is the top of the world. So consider that, really dedicate time to looking into your product quality when trying, or service quality when trying to do business with Japan. Now, number five is local partnerships and market insights. Now, I pulled up the JETRO website here to give you some resource, because they have a plethora of resources. They're a partially government-funded organization to help you with success in Japan. But basically, when gaining or trying to gain market insights in Japan, collaborating with a local business such as a distributor, as a brand ambassador, such an influencer for your product, or hiring a Japanese consultant can provide really valuable or priceless insights into the market dynamics, consumer preferences, and regulatory environment in Japan. The knowledge that you'll gain from that will enable you to tailor your products or services to meet local demands more effectively. So again, try to look into the resources that JETRO provides to see if you find something for your niche. They have a lot of market reports and so on. And long-term, try to establish a local market partnership to be sustainably successful in Japan. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about language. This is a language platform. You can learn languages. I don't want to encourage you starting to learn. You don't have to learn the Japanese language, but you will need to communicate at some stage in Japanese somehow, be it through you directly if you have some Japanese skills, or through an interpreter or assistant that you might utilize. So again, while English is commonly used in international business settings, learning some basic Japanese phrases and customs can go a long way, especially in establishing rapport and showing your respect, coming back to the very first point, when dealing with Japanese business partners. So hiring a professional interpreter or language expert can help bridge any communication gaps and facilitate smoother interactions. You can look on this platform for Japanese teachers and just try to ask them if they might be available to do some interpreting for you, because I found that many of them have a very good level of English. And again, from personal experience, working with Japan for 25 years, speaking Japanese, even in international companies, is not common. It is not common. So you will, mid to long term, maybe even short term, will need to work with an interpreter. And this is a good start. Try out this platform called italki. I'll put it down in the comments, not comment section, but in the description below. So there you have it. 6 key strategies for success when doing business with Japan. Remember, building relationships, cultural sensitivity, patience, emphasizing quality, forming local partnerships, and effective communications are vital for your success in Japan. So I hope this video was helpful and gave you some valuable insights into Japanese business landscape. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more valuable content on international business with Japan. And if you have any questions or would like to share your experience, please feel free to leave a comment below. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara.